Hey everyone, I'm Mind, and this is set number 80045, Monkey King Ultra Mech from the LEGO Monkey Kid theme. This set contains 1,705 pieces, 6 minifigures, and will retail for $159.99 in the US. This set does not come out until January 1st, 2023, but it was set to me early by the LEGO Group through the LEGO Ambassador Network, but all opinions expressed in this video are my own. Before I get started, I'd just like to ask you guys, please like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new. This is my first early 2023 review of a lot coming over the next few weeks, so if you like what you see here and you want to see more, by liking and subscribing to the channel, it'll help put those videos in your feed as soon as they're posted, and also really help support me in the channel. But with all that being said, let's get on to the review. So here's the Monkey King Ultra Mech, and when this set was revealed, I was worried it was going to be too similar to the original Monkey King Mech. But now that I have it all built up, I will say I do like this one more than the original, and there are some key differences. However, still, I feel like the base skeleton, like how it poses, how it works, is very similar to the original. Some things are even done worse, in my opinion. If you're interested in seeing a full comparison between this set and that one, let me know in the comments, and if this video gets to 1,000 likes, I'll make that comparison video. But for now, let's see how this set is just as a standalone mech. So we'll start at the feet of the mech, which I actually think look absolutely fantastic. The feet of mechs are sometimes quite ugly because they need to be big to like support the entire mech, and despite this mech being massive, they didn't compromise on the feet here. I think these actually look really good. I love the sort of like golden shoe-like design with the spike coming up right here. I think that looks great. And from all angles, like there's something to be appreciated. There's not like an ugly side to this. Now the feet are connected onto the legs of ball joints, and you can see the ball joint's actually kind of inset in there. It's a little deeper in than a normal ball joint is, but I feel like that makes the mech more sturdy. But you can still get a little bit of articulation on the feet. You can turn them side to side, as well as a little bit forward and back, but very little. However, that's understandable with a mech of this size. With the opposite foot, everything's exactly the same, just mirrored. Now moving up the leg, you have like these thruster things at the back right here. They can be rotated out and turned around if you want. They add a nice splash of color to the build. I'm not sure exactly what they're supposed to be, but they do look quite cool. And you can see there's one on each side there. The mech does have false knees in the center of the leg right here, so they're bent a little bit to give the appearance of knees, but you can't actually articulate the knees at all. That's disappointing, but 100% understandable. With a mech of this scale, I don't know how they'd be able to make knees that still articulate, so I wasn't expecting fully fledged knees here. It just would have been nice considering we've gotten it in some Ninjago sets recently. But yeah, I think this is more than acceptable at the scale this mech is. There is little knee pads at the center though, and those can be articulated ever so slightly to give sort of the appearance of bending the knee, but again, it's all just imaginary. Then coming up to the thighs of the legs, you actually have these rounded red and teal pieces. I really love the shaping here. I also quite like the use of the teal. Teal has always been a part of Monkey Kid's color scheme, but I feel like they're really leaning into it more with this mech. There's a lot less yellow than there normally is and a lot more teal, and I quite like that. It helps make this still feel like a Monkey Kid vehicle, while also helping it stand out from other Monkey Kid vehicles and from the previous Monkey King mech. The shaping on the upper leg though is absolutely fantastic. They took the care to make sure the inside of the legs look just as good as the outside, which I think is just such a nice touch, because every now and then, especially with smaller mechs, the inside of the legs are quite ugly, but no, here it looks exactly the same as the other side, and just helps us feel like a fully fleshed out mech. Back of the legs is a little bit uglier, but even still doesn't look bad, and I think they did about as well as they could with anti-studs. But no, since every other angle looks good, I have no complaints about this. Now coming up to the torso of the mech, this is where we get to the sort of cloth area that hangs down, and this is one of the major differences from the original Monkey King mech. On the original, it was these vinyl pieces, while here it's brick built, and while the vinyl pieces were a really cool look, I think this is a lot better. It feels a lot more like LEGO and still looks really cool. I love all the lacquered gold parts, those look amazing, and the shaping that's done here is incredible. Lots of different angled pieces in teal, red, and gold. But yeah, these sort of cloth pieces are on mini ball joints. You can rotate them a little bit, move them out, move them in. You can see that piece just popped off, so you gotta be a little careful with that, but allows it so that when you move the legs, you can move the cloth pieces with them to keep that dynamic range of motion, while also having a nice transition between the torso and the legs, so the joints aren't like super obviously shown. There's also more of those brick built cloth pieces right here that come down with these golden blades. These are actually detachable for something else, which we'll take a look at later in the video, but on the mech, I think they look pretty good. The blade is a little bit weird, but the top part to just be the cloth hanging down looks quite good. So again, no complaints from me. I think they did a pretty good job. Speaking of those golden blade pieces though, this is an all new part for this wave, and it's definitely very interesting. I think it looks good and fits like the Monkey Kid theme well. I do feel like we have a million other parts that accomplish this exact same thing. In fact, 2 were introduced in Ninjago this year. So do we need another big golden blade piece? Probably not, but this one does fit Monkey Kid better than the Ninjago one does, and it does look very cool. Anyway, back up to the center. That piece that fell off before is a printed like a little Monkey King face, and I think that looks amazing. Such a cool printed part to get. And then coming up to the upper torso, you can see it's very armored, lots of gold. Again, I love the combination of the lacquered gold with just like the normal gold bricks. There's a few stickers used all throughout here, such as on this gold triangular piece, and on like this little targeting computer in the center. These like bulkier bits of the chest can actually be hinged down, and that gives you easier access into the interior. And there you can see there's the seat for Monkey Kid to sit. There's how he looks actually placed in the mech, and then here's how he looks with it all closed up around him. You can actually see his face through this little window right here, which I think is a really cool touch. And then coming up to the head of the mech, you have this monkey face right here, which I think looks absolutely perfect. It's very similar to the ones on the original Monkey King mech and on the Macaque mech, but refined even further here, and I mean, yeah, it just looks fantastic all around. What else is there to say? It's very clearly a monkey. There's an all-new eyepiece here too, very similar design to the old printed eyepiece, but it is new. The little nose is super cute, and I like how it's on the lacquered gold parts. And then there's another stickered piece for the forehead right here. The head is able to turn a full 360 degrees as long as nothing else gets in its way. And this fully armored up form, it stops right here, but you'll see how I can change that in a little bit. And then there's also a little secret with the head. You see, in the head, they actually hit a light brick. Here's a look at that with the lights off. Yeah, very cool, and you can see the reason they made that new eyepiece is so that it's transparent so the light can shine through. Light bricks are very much a gimmick, but they are always fun, and I think this is a really good use of it. To activate the light brick, it's very easy. Just push in on this little wheel piece right here, and you can see that's how it lights up. And yeah, I just think that's all around a very fun feature. While we're here, we'll take a look at a few vinyl pieces on the build. These little tassels coming off the back of the monkey's head are vinyl, as well as these cloud designs on the side. Now, these tassels were brick built on the original Monkey King mech, and once again, I think this is an improvement, because my opinion on the original was just like, it feels too awkward, rigid. It didn't really come off as like tassels, cloth to me. But vinyl here works a lot better. Still feels a little bit like it's not what LEGO really should do. It doesn't feel like, I don't know, it doesn't feel like it fits LEGO's design formulas. But I think this is a lot better than just like an entire cloth waistband on the original, which if you haven't seen my review with the original, I do think looks good. It just didn't feel like LEGO to me. So yeah, these are a little strange in the world of LEGO, but I do think they look good and fit a lot better than the giant tentacle pieces on the original. There's also these cloud pieces which look cool. I don't know if they were necessary because they just sort of bulk up the build, give a background behind it, and I mean it is very fun, it gives it a very unique look, but I don't know if they were needed here. They are very easily removable, so that's a good thing if you want to remove them for any reason. But yeah, they're just another fun, cool vinyl piece, and they're basically the same on both sides, just mirrored. Again, on low ball joints, so you can move them around if you want. Now to end things off, we'll come to the arms, which are interesting. These armored shoulder pads are quite cool. I like how they sort of replicate like the Mr. E armor in gold, because that's what Monkey King normally wears in his fully armored form. So it's interesting to see that in brick build, and I think it's a really good use of parts here of like the Evo armor. However, I feel like things really thin out at the elbow. Now the entire arm is on one of these like circular rigid Technic joints, so you can move it up a little bit as far as the armor allows. You can rotate it forward and back again as far as like the other parts of the build allow, so there's a pretty big range of motion there. Additionally, this elbow in the center can be rotated, which looks really good when it's bent like this, and when it's open like this, not as good, but I mean this makes it functional and fun to play with, so not a huge deal. But then this lower arm looks quite bad, and there is a reason for this. However, I don't think it's worth it, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But yeah, just lots of open exposed studs, exposed technical right here, and just some like ugly colors, and it's also just very flat. With how detailed everything else is, I don't know, this part of the arm just feels a little bit awkward to me. There is some cool stickered parts all throughout the arm though. And then finally we come to the hand, which has another stickered part on like the knuckle. There's an individually posable thumb, and then 2 individually posable fingers, but they're quite big fingers, so you can imagine this as a total of 5 fingers, like 1 stud per finger. But yeah, this hand's on a mini ball joint, so you can rotate it however you want. Then there's another mini ball joint on the inside, and this is where you're supposed to attach the Monkey King staff. And let me tell you, this staff has given me so many problems. On the original Monkey King mech, I was like, the staff is very inconvenient. Like, yes, you could pose it in 2 hands, but it is annoying too. This mech is even worse. If you go to LEGO.com, you may notice there is no official pictures where it's holding the staff in 2 hands. And that's because it's basically impossible to do. I'm sure there is some exact pose where you could do it, but the way they did on this mech makes it very, very annoying and difficult. So the best thing to do is just slide this in right here, close the fingers up around it, and just like toss the staff over the mech's back. That's what he's doing in most of the official pictures, and obviously I have the hand rotated the wrong way, but you can do it the other way around too. But yeah, I wish there was a better way for the mech to hold the staff in 2 hands, but unfortunately it's just such an awkward build because it's just so long in one singular piece. But getting both those technical holes to line up in both hands and also having it diagonal and not just like straight out, it's very inconvenient to do. Like here, just to attempt, like, I don't know, I could do something like this, but then I'm warping the staff a bit, and there's no easy way to do it. The best thing to do is just sort of place the staff in the other hand, not actually have it connected in that little technical. And there you go, that's an okay option that you have. But yeah, I'm really just not a fan of how the staff integrates just in general. Could definitely be a lot better. Staff itself is quite good though. I like the use of these wheel pieces at the top. That is a fun touch that makes it look a lot more detailed, not just like the same piece over and over again. Now to finally mention the reason why the forearm is just so plain and flat, that's because there's an attachment that goes on top of it. This like double blade piece, which you can use as a second weapon from the mech, so I guess the staff goes in one hand and this goes on the other. The thing is, they made both forearms able to connect to this. If it was one forearm was flat because it was meant for this, I wouldn't mind that so much. But because you only have one of this build, one forearm is going to look awkward all the time. Like, I like the customization option just to be able to put it on either side, but in my opinion, it would have been better if it could only be put on one side, and they made the other side look a little bit nicer. Not a huge thing, but it is something that irks me a little bit. But there's how the mech looks with the attachment on the arm. In terms of pose builder, you do have a lot of options options, but the biggest limiter here is the max weight. Specifically, it's very back heavy, and that's because there is a transformation to this build that makes it a lot less back heavy, but in its base, like, fully armored up form, like, there's not a ton of options. You can spread the legs out or have them more, and this is them, like, fully splayed out. You can put in a little bit of a walking pose that's not a super dramatic walking pose, but it does exist. But yeah, just like the original Monkey King mech, it's so big that's very limited by its size. It's quite easy to topple over. If you find a pose that works for it, put it on a shelf, like, it will be stable, it will be fine. But if you're planning on playing with this just as a set all the time, it will be quite annoying to pose, I will warn you that. So I do think this works better as a display model than as a toy, which for the price that makes sense, but for what it's marketed as, less so. So I don't know, it's up to you guys how much that matters to you, but that's just what I've noticed. Just trying to move this around for this review, it being very heavy, things fall off every now and then. Not because they're not stable, but just because there's so much weight to it. The entire thing topples over every now and then, because if you plop it down not the exactly perfect way, it will fall over. So yeah, just something to be aware of as a consumer. In a pose like this, it's not going to fall over, right? I'm shaking my desk, no issue. But if you don't have that perfect pose initially, it will just topple over, and it will hit the ground hard. Alright, but that's about it for the main build of the mech. Now, I would normally talk about the side builds here, however, there are no side builds. Instead, there's a transformation with the mech, because you can take parts of the mech off and they turn into a side build. Let me show you what I mean. So the parts of the mech that I have to remove are the 2 blades on the legs, the double blades on the arm, and the cannons out the back, as well as the tail at the back, which I just remembered I did not show you the monkey tail at the back, so I'll show you that after I show you the side build. So yeah, we just gotta detach each of those individually. You already saw how the one on the arm comes off. And the cannons at the back here can be flipped up. Here's how the back of the mech looks with everything still connected. Very bulky, but this entire build right here could slide out. And there you go, there's how the back of the mech looks now. This definitely frees up a lot of weight, but also makes the mech look significantly worse, especially from the back. It looks very flat back here now, and then you have like the exposed technicals and everything. Not terrible, especially when looking at it from the front. So it's a bit of give and take. This is definitely a more playable mech, but a worse looking mech. But then from the front, without the leg armor and shoulder cannons, something definitely feels like it's missing. This guy goes from looking very armored to looking very lanky. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this look, but what comes off the mech is pretty cool. Oh, actually, quick correction, you only need these blade pieces, not the cloth pieces. So that does make the unarmored mech a little less lanky, but even so, it just feels awkward without the cannons at the top. Anyway, to create this transformation, first you start with this piece right here. This came from the back of the mech. Remove this gold part in the center, which attaches to the cannons. Flip this part down. Flip these 2 thrusters up. Reattach those cannons to the center right here. Attach that double arm blade piece to this technical in the front, and then attach each individual blade out the back of the cannons. These are the golden blades that come from the legs. And there we go, there's the new vehicle, and it's like this little hovercraft for Monkey Kid. I don't know what type of vehicle this is, but it's got 2 blades at the side to sort of represent wings, 2 more blades at the front, I guess, which you can imagine as weapons. The cannons from the top of the mech, as well as thrusters out the back. This part of the back looks quite bad because it is part of the connection to the mech, but the thrusters do look quite cool. And the build of this is very wacky, very unconventional, but it all comes together quite nicely, so I don't have any complaints with it. The cannons, I guess, we'll take a look at now because I hadn't looked at them up close earlier. But you have the imaginary cannon right here, and then also this piece that flips down with a spring-loaded shooter in it. And there's one of those on each side, both with an accompanying stickered part. There's a trans-red cockpit piece right here, which flips open, and then studs inside for a minifigure to sit. So you can see there's how Monkey Kid looks sitting in there. It actually looks like he's sitting pretty deep in there. And then you can close the red windshield piece back up around him. And there's how he looks piloting the little vehicle. Yeah, I think this is a cute, fun option. I don't know if it was worth the effect it has on the overall mech. Specifically in that tail piece, it's very heavy with that on there. But that being connected to the cannons, the build looks weird without it. So I don't know, this is fun, but I'm not sure how fun it is. You guys have to let me know in the comments. Do you like this or do you not like that this is here? Regardless though, this helps make the build different from the original Monkey King mech, which is something that I do appreciate. But I think that's about all I'll say on the builds of the set for now. I'll talk more about it at the end of this video. For now, let's move on to the minifigures, so then I can give you my overall thoughts. So here are the first 2 minifigures in the set. We have MK and we have Tang. This MK minifigure is really, really cool. This is all new for this wave, and it's just such an incredible look that Monkey Kid has never had before. It's an overall very white suit. Now typically he sticks with like gold, red, teal, the kind of colors you see on the actual mech. But no, this is an all white suit with some touches of his other colors. But this is just so elegant and looks really nice. I love all the metallic printing on there. There's sort of like this dragon face design it looks like. And then you got like some clouds and some scales in the back. That looks really, really cool. Flawless transition from the torso into the legs as well. Genuinely amazed by this minifigure. Like I was not expecting this from Monkey Kid this year. But yeah, really, really, really good all around. Also, we have the Legacy Silken Armor recolored in light gray here. I was hoping that would be silver. It's not silver, it is light gray. Fairly standard Monkey Kid face print though. Would have been nice to get a new one, but we do have so many Monkey Kid faces, so I can't complain about that too much. Around the back though, again, very elegant. I love all the metallic printing, super detailed, so many different colors used. Such a fantastic design all around. This is just a really, really good minifigure. There he is with his hairpiece removed, and there's look at his alternate face. Again, nothing new in the face print, but I still like to show it to you. And then Tang is super interesting. So obviously Tang looks a little bit different here, and that's because I believe this wave, the main Monkey Kid cast, is now in outfits inspired by the original characters that these characters are based on from Journey to the West. So Tang is in the monk's outfit from Journey to the West, so he definitely looks quite different here, but once again, this is an amazing minifigure. Printing quality is a little bit poor in the torso. You could see the orange on the legs is a lot more vibrant than the orange on the torso. That's a little disappointing to say. I wish that coloring was a bit more consistent, but that aside, I think it's a really good design. I like how he has the orange and red robe on top of just like this tan clothing, and you can see both of those captured in the print here, as well as on like the physical pieces. This new hairpiece looks amazing with like the crown and everything. Funnily enough, I think that would make it for an interesting custom Princess Harumi from Ninjago, because the hairpiece is very similar to Harumi's. But yeah, that is an incredible new part. And then what I believe is for the first time ever, we have an all-new face print for Tang as well. You can see he's just got a slightly upset expression here, but then on the alternate face, he has his glasses off, eyes closed, and it looks like he's focusing on something. That's a very useful face print both for Tang and just for LEGO in general. I really, really like what they did there. Before we move on to the next figures on the side, I just want to take a moment to appreciate the wraparound leg print right here. The shoes look great, the top of the robes look great. Was not necessary at all, but super nice to see. And I'm glad they included that. The next two minifigures of this set, we have Monkey King and we have the Azure Lion. Monkey King is in an all-new suit here, but before we talk about that, let's talk about this new staff. For the first time in Monkey Kid's run, they have redesigned the staff piece, and wow, this looks incredible. They have all new ends to the staff that have like these little runes on them, and that just looks so much better than just like the standard piece that they used before. It feels straight out of the show. I absolutely love this. Now these are included as a part of a new weapon pack that comes in this wave. The blade on the Azure Lion sword is a part of the same pack. So the boxes advertise collectible weapons for this wave, but they really do all come in every set, or at least the exclusive parts of them. So the other parts of this collection are the top of Tang's staff. Interestingly, the set doesn't come with the full build for Tang's staff, even though Tang comes in the set. Quite odd, because he doesn't come in the other set that the full build does come in. But yeah, if you have your own parts to build the rest of it, you do get the tip of it here. You get the two parts of Sandy's weapon, the top of Pigsy's rake, and finally the blade of May's sword. So yeah, even if you aren't planning on collecting every set, you do get every weapon in each set that comes with at least one weapon. But the only ones here that you get full builds of are the staff for Monkey King and the sword for this guy. But removing the staff, looking at this Monkey King figure, he looks really good. He's got this like tiger print design, again a wraparound printing, which looks really, really good, just like Tang. I love this sort of like white fluffy coat design too, and there's an all new face print on him as well. Very similar to his previous face prints, but now he's got a little crown up there, and his alternate face is actually crying, which is interesting, but it's nice to get another expression from Monkey King. Same tail piece he's used before out the back, and there's a look at that back torso print too. The Azure Lion's an interesting figure too, quite cool, but also feels like a bombardment of colors on my eyes. I don't know, it just feels like there's a lot going on here. You got the bright orange, the teal, the black, the gold, the purple. I definitely feel like it could have used with some duller colors. It makes this figure quite unique, don't get me wrong, but yeah, it just feels like there's too much going on here in my opinion. But the all-new hairpiece is very cool. I like the spiky hair on the back. It does give off like a very lion-like vibe. That new sword design is quite cool. I like the black handle flame out the back to be like a little tassel. That's a fun parts usage. This cape is quite cool as well. I'm not sure if it's new for this guy. Personally, I don't think I've ever gotten it before, but it's a super cool cut. Very unique. And then removing the hairpiece, you can see his full face print, as well as his alternate face where he seems somewhat happier, and then there's the back torso print. Yeah, very unique figure all around. Quite a cool exclusive. Again, I do feel like the colors are a bit much, but definitely helps this guy feel unique, so I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I do like the figure all around. Definitely not one of my favorites, but I think it is still quite cool. And then the final two minifigures in the set, we have the golden winged eagle and the yellow tusked elephant. Again, they have a similar thing where they are very colorful, lots of different colors going on. I think the golden winged eagle is definitely the worst in terms of color combination, and I think the yellow tusked elephant's the best, but all of them feel quite bold. Golden winged eagle though, I don't know how I feel about this figure. He's definitely very interesting. The teal I feel like should have been left off because it's very sparsely used pretty much just on the hair and like on his accessory, but teal is such a commanding color that I feel like it really hurts the rest of this figure. Same thing with the beak. I feel like they want the beak to stand out, but bright orange is just such a bright color. I don't know, I feel like it doesn't really fit with the rest of this guy. I'm also not sure how I feel about how they did the beak. It's its own separate piece that comes up from the bottom, similar to like the Ninjago movie Ninja Masks, and I mean, I guess it's okay. I don't know, it does look quite good when you have it correctly, but the thing is, because it's not like attached to the top, it's very easy to spin. and then when it's spun, it looks terrible. So I kind of wish this was just a fully molded head instead, but I guess this provides more customization options, so that is a good thing, but I don't know, it's definitely very awkward. Torso print is quite good though. Not a huge fan of this blue color, but I guess it works well enough for what it is. And then the black in the legs is just yet another color introduced. But the design is overall good, I just think it's way too many colors. Golden wings, again, yet another color. Very cool part though, not sure it's a new color for this set, but still very nice to see. I don't think I personally have it. And here's how it looks with everything removed, which is honestly quite cursed. The printed beak is very freaky. And there's the back torso print, which honestly I think looks a lot better. A bit more simple, a lot less colors used. Yeah, I don't mind that at all. But from the front, yeah, there's just a lot going on. And then the yellow tusk elephant I think is quite cool, very similar design to the golden winged eagle. The main difference is this ear tusk piece is not as easy to move, so as such it doesn't fall out of place as often. The purple Praetorian guard armor is amazing too, and I quite like the design. The teal and the purple complement the white really well, and the touches of the yellow aren't overbearing. He is still a very bright figure all around. They definitely could have toned down some of the colors a bit, but in terms of bright figures, I think this guy does it the best. Removing the elephant tusk piece, now you can see the full face print as well as the full torso print. Again, face print very cursed. He's no longer an elephant, he's just a guy. They didn't even attempt to print the nose. And there's the torso print around the back. I like that sort of cloth design. Again, quite good. Not sure how I feel about the hairpiece on this one, but the rest of it I do genuinely quite like. I think it's a really good minifigure. So even though he's not exclusive, this is easily my favorite of the bad guy minifigures in this set. And so, what are my overall thoughts of this set? All around, I think this set's good, but it falls into the same flaws as the original. Very bulky, hard to balance. I think it is a beautiful, amazing set for display, probably one of the best, but in terms of play, it leaves a bit to be desired. I think it did a decent job of differentiating itself from the original Monkey King mech, and I appreciate it using more brick-built sections rather than vinyl. And the figure selection this time around is really, really good. 4 exclusive figures, being the first 4 I covered in this review, and then the other 2 figures are also quite uncommon, so that's very nice to see as well. Still though, $160 is a high asking price, considering the previous one was $150 and also came with a side build. So would I recommend this set? If you're a super big Monkey Kid fan and you really like the original and you don't mind the idea of having a second, then yeah, I think you'll like this set. And if you're getting into Monkey Kid and you missed out on the original, I think this is a nice way to step in. You get a nice collection of characters here, and a fairly solid build, albeit at a slightly high price. But if you already had the original or you're on the fence, I wouldn't call this a must-have set, so I guess that's up to you to make your own decision based on what you saw in this review. But yeah, on the whole, I like it, but at the end of the day, it's just another big, pretty mech. It's very pretty, lots of cool things, but it suffers the same issues other big mechs do. But there's just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think of this set in the comments below. Again, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, if this video gets to 1,000 likes, I'll make a comparison video between this and the original Monkey King mech. If you enjoyed this video, please just like, subscribe to the channel if you're new. I do LEGO videos just like this one almost every day, so subscribe to be the first to see them. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!